Warning, F-bombs are not armed and will not be dropped. And if you know me, that makes you very, very nervous. Alright, yesterday I broke one of my rules. I watched a Timcast video. I allow myself to watch any video that any channel I'm already subscribed to. And I'll watch videos that are recommended. Timcast was not recommended to me by a friend, and Timcast is not on my subscribe list. The title was, "You Don't Have What It Takes to Survive the Apocalypse." That got my attention automatically. He goes on to talk about what he's done to prepare for a possible emergency, be it man-made like nuclear war or natural like a meteor strikes New York. And he went on to talk about a few case examples. Hurricane Irma, I think it was, taking out Manhattan's electricity grid for 2 months, for example. He didn't mention Paradise burning to the ground, which I would have. Alright, you need to be prepared. It doesn't matter why it happens, you need to be prepared. You need a 30-day food and water supply and a 30-day survival medicine supply. He mentioned insulin-dependent diabetics specifically. Now this strikes home to me. I don't talk about this a lot, but my daughter is a type 1 diabetic. She will absolutely die if she does not have insulin. That really scared me. You need to have at least a 30-day emergency supply of your survival meds. A 30-day supply of food and water, and paper plates and plastic forks. Every ounce of water you use for cleaning is water you could have used for cooking and drinking. By the way, save your cleaning water. You can use that as water for flushing a toilet. It's called gray water, and it absolutely works. And it will save flushing water. You have to get rid of the gray water anyways. It's better to get rid of it this way. But it's also better not to waste drinking water. General purpose uninterruptible power supply if possible, and at least UPSs for your critical infrastructure. Now today we consider Wi-Fi to be critical infrastructure, but your refrigerator comes first. A generator, any generator. If you have to build a generator, do it. You'll notice I did not say solar or wind power. I'll come back to those in a minute. You need a generator, preferably one that works off of gas or propane, but a generator of some sort. Why did I not say solar and wind? Because solar and wind are not dependable under certain conditions. If it's overcast, you basically lose your solar power. If there's no wind, you lose your wind power. Your generator will still work under those conditions. Now, I'm not saying don't get solar and don't get wind. That would be silly. But don't depend on those as your only solution, because you will find yourself in deep, deep shit. Cell phone. Have a spare cell phone, even if it's not connected to a network. It's still a handheld computer. You can make videos, you can do calculations, you can do a lot of small stuff with it. You can maybe even send emails if your Wi-Fi and internet are still working. On the subject of internet, for God's sakes, don't use wireless internet. Pay extra, get a hard line. Propane heaters. There's a big fat asterisk next to that on my written list. Every year, about a dozen or so people die because they used propane heating sources. Usually, they're propane stoves. These are the most common problem children, but propane heaters are also a big problem. And the big problem is they generate carbon monoxide, which will kill you very, very quickly. Have them properly ventilated to the outside. If they're properly ventilated, you're fine. If they're not properly ventilated, you're dead. Have them properly ventilated. It's not that hard. On that note, if you can get those 1 inch to 1.5 inch thick foam insulation, basically is what it is. It's hard foam. Usually on one side is the shiny side and the other side is a dull side. And cut pieces that will fit in your windows. That will help keep out draft. That won't help with your ventilation issue. To fix your ventilation issue, you will actually have to put a plastic pseudo window with little holes cut in it to ventilate out. But that beats dying by a long shot. And with the foam, you're actually pretty warm. Been there, done that. Let's just assume Niner 17 never happens. By some miracle or accident, the plan never happens. Okay, so what? You're prepared for a hurricane. I have a friend, he's actually one of the admins, who survived a major hurricane by being prepared. It's the one that Katrina survived Katrina because his host was thoroughly prepared. Yeah. Be absolutely ready. A good way to test out your gear is to go camping, because basically what you're doing is wood tent camping. If it worked for camping, it'll work for your survival. Just remember, you have to also have that generator or you're in deep shit. You may have noticed that my avatar, over there, is a picture of Leonard Bones McCoy from Star Trek. Why would I have a fictional character? DeForest Kelly's gone, so obviously it's not me kissing his ass. Maybe a tribute to him, but I'm not trying to kiss his ass, so why would I do that? Because believe it or not, this video is really a continuation of me actually giving a shit about the survival of humanity as a general subject. Yes, there are bad people out there, and they are planning to do something that will kill a lot of people. Unless you're ready for them. And even if by some accident they don't do what they're planning, Mother Nature is trying to kill us all. Alright? Life in general is a tumor upon Mother Nature that she has been trying to kill off for about 100,000 years. With some really great success, by the way. Science tells us there's no actual reason why you should grow old and die. There's a reason why you should maybe grow old to about 70 or 80. There's no actual scientific reason why you should die of old age. Mother Nature really is trying to kill you. And she will succeed. The more ready you are, the longer you're going to make it. You'll notice I didn't talk about weapons in this video at all. Alright, I have some opinions. Yes, you should have a gun, and brass knuckles, and pepper spray. Maybe a very, very big stick, baseball bat. But that's not the most important thing. That should never be your first consideration. 30-day food and water supply, 30-day med supply, UPS, generator, heaters. Don't worry about your air conditioning. Don't worry about your swamp cooler. If it's too hot, life sucks. But you will survive that. Unless your medical condition requires you to have cooling, in which case that just came up a little bit higher on your priority list. Also, if you have the opportunity to put a well in, take it. You want that continuous water supply, even if you have to clean it separately. I have a friend who's finally agreed to put a well, an emergency well in for irrigation and firefighting purposes. He could still drink the water after he cleans it up a lot. Take that option if it presents. All right. I'm going to include a link to the Timcast video in the description because I actually think it's important that you watch that video. Other than that, keep calm, mandatory carry on, and get ready for the inevitable. It will happen to you someday. It might only be 48 hours, and it might be 6 months. Be ready. There's actual government websites dedicated to this subject. Every state has at least one, and I think there's a federal one as well.